I'm about to be really mean to some books, y'all. I want this to stay about as short as the other videos have been this week, so I've split up the ugliest books in my library into different categories, and I'm going to try to only limit it to like 3 for each category, and we're just going to roll through them. I don't feel like I need to explain myself. If I think something's ugly, it's ugly. I'm not a connoisseur of covers by any means, so if you disagree with me, I mean, tell me, but I don't care. I think these are ugly. So these first books aren't like the ugliest things you've ever seen, but I'm classifying them as weird squares on covers. Because for some inexplicable reason, these have weird squares on them. The first one is John Gardner's Grendel, which I love this book, but why is this weirdly to the side and a square? And this is the ugly cover of this. There's one that's really cool of him standing in the middle of a field. That's not even, I think, what Grendel looks like. Who the fuck is this dude? This is just not it. This is not it. This is a weird square. The next one, I don't have the classic cover of this book, and I would just kill for it because this cover is ugly, inexplicable square. It's got this weird kind of old looking font. What's the clock and the yarn doing in here? It's been a while since I've read this book, mind you, but this just doesn't have the same vibe to it that the original cover does. The next one, I don't really like this book, but it's Voice at the Back Door by Elizabeth Spencer. Inexplicable square. This white space is ugly. This extra space on these books is so ugly to me. But this one is also bad because what you can see is so dark that you can barely see it. It's supposed to be the back of a house because it's the back door. But like this just doesn't, the vibe is not right for what this book is about or at all. So those are ugly covers with inexplicable squares on them. The next category I call poor font or color choices. The Shining is in this one because these colors don't look good together. The purple and the pink, okay, but then you throw in the orange, that does not look good. Pick one. You should have maybe chosen a different color here, maybe a neutral color instead of another fucking bright ass color. But far be it from me to tell you what to do. The next one I feel bad about because it's not ugly, but the font choice on Nervous Conditions is so bad, and it needs some kind of definition because it's just this red on her against her brown dress looks so bad to me. It's like it needs a shadow or it needs like an outline so it pops. This doesn't fit what the book is about. And the last one doesn't know what the fuck it's doing. Can you read the title? I can't read the title. Maybe this means something. I've never read this book, but this says stuff. Can you read it? I can't. This font choice was a decision. Was it a good one? No. I call this next group of bad covers, What Are These People Doing? This cover of A Christmas Carol. What are these people doing? It's always this really awkward picture of Bob Cratchit and Tiny Tim that make them kind of look like humans that have mated with frogs. It also almost has that inexplicable square thing going on too, doesn't it? But it's just really bad. Gate to Nowhere. This doesn't look good to me. I don't know what she's doing. She doesn't look like she belongs in a book that says Gates to Nowhere. And I might be playing fast and loose with this one, but I still remember not liking it. And last one, if I'm in a category called What Are These People Doing, it has to involve Animorphs. Listen, I love this series. I really do. But what the fuck is Tobias doing on this? And yes, I know his name is Tobias. I was obsessed with this series. But all of these are, what is Rachel doing? Oh my God. Tobias, no. Look, Cassie, honey, Jake, what are we doing? No, that's Marco. See, this is how much I know that I'm wrong. That's Marco. It's got to be Marco. It says Marco on it. These are bad. These are bad covers. They are awful and awkward. And they're also the reason why my Baptist mother made me stop reading them in middle school because people couldn't turn into animals. That was of the devil. That's a real story about my life. These last two I call tackiness miscellany. They're not really ugly necessarily, but they also don't look good. I have the Portable Milton here. I just don't understand what it's trying to do. It's got the cool like brush stuff that could be nice, but this font choice is so god awful. Like there's just too much going on. Your eyes don't settle very nicely on it. And then the next one is Son of Rosemary, which is actually the sequel to Rosemary's Baby and a really awful book, but I keep it because it is so hilariously bad. But it has that aggressive cover that you've got in a lot of 80s and 90s like adventure and romance novels. And when you look at my nice cover of the original that's got like almost that Dutch angle going on, and it's like really classic, red, white, and black. We love that. What the fuck is this? Please give me a cover that matches the original. They're not going to do that because this doesn't deserve a cover that matches the original. Just read Rosemary's Baby. Do not read the sequel. But anyway, that's some tacky books that I have in my collection. Are the books still good? Yeah, I still love Animorphs, even though they've got weird ass people on the cover. Christmas Carol is one of my favorite stories. I just don't have a pretty cover of it. So you can't necessarily judge a book by its cover, but I'm judging these pretty harshly. Also, because I haven't stated it yet, I love this shirt. I wore it because it's the wildest thing I own, but I actually really love this shirt. So we're not taking criticism on my fashion choices today.